Hi, Courtney Robinson here, and I'm here today for part 3 in my series about living large on a small budget or a smaller budget. And as I said in the previous video, sometimes we want to do this because we have to, and sometimes we want to do it because we're trying to reach some kind of goal, or we're trying to maybe have less and have more freedom. And so I want to start with my third part of my series today. Number one is to get out of debt. There are so many good videos out there on getting out of debt. You could do the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, but there's so much good information out there on it. So I would just say go to YouTube and Google it. I did follow Larry Burkett, who was Dave Ramsey's mentor. I did use Dave Ramsey. I've recently have come to know some things about Ramsey solutions that I don't necessarily agree with, but I do think the principles are sound, and getting out of debt is probably one of the best things you can do for your financial future. The quicker, the better, because the more in debt you are constantly paying interest to someone else to have that debt instead of paying it to yourself. So for instance, today my husband and I made a large principal payment on our house. For every $10,000, because we have a little higher interest rate, because at the time we got our house, we weren't married. It's a long story, and we owned my house, so we got a higher interest rate. It's 4.75%. Well, we knew we wanted to pay the house off quickly, actually in 4 to 5 years. So, and we had a very large down payment that we saved, and we did a lot of the grunt work ourselves. That being said, for every $10,000 that we owe, we pay around 40 something dollars a month on that debt. And so, for instance, you can end up paying hundreds of dollars in interest every month if you hold debt. On our house payment, it's about $400 a month goes to interest right now, and we're down to only owing about $81,000 on our house. So, getting out of debt and letting your money make interest, where on my investments right now, I've been making about 8%, and that's thousands of dollars. Honestly, like, it's been really going up being in the market. So you got to really get out of debt. Even if you don't understand it, begin to educate yourself. One of my favorite podcasts is Choose FI, or Paula Pant, for learning more about getting out of debt and getting into financial independence. Number 2 is have a savings account. Things change drastically when you can buy what you want, but you don't have to. And what do I mean by that? My daughter was kind of today laughing. She goes, "Mom, you drive an older car than me." And she doesn't make a lot of money. She's hadn't been out of college but a few years. The difference is I was able to pay cash for my car and she wasn't. I purchased a car, a lot less car than I could quote afford, because I didn't want to spend that money. I had cash. I could have purchased something 4 times what I purchased, but I chose to buy something less expensive so that I would not have to go into debt at this time, because my husband is nearing retirement. I'm quite a bit behind him. So things really changed. When my husband had saved $48,000 to put down on this house, it took quite a while, and to put down on this land, he really had a hard time writing that check for this land, because he had worked so hard. You're much less likely to part with your money when you can feel the pain of parting with your money. And all of a sudden, those things that you want become like, how bad do I really want that purse? Am I willing to work? If I make $20 an hour and I want a $200 pair of shoes, am I willing to work a day and a couple of hours to buy that pair of shoes? Actually, more with taxes. Maybe not. So I have to think about, like, what's my time, hourly time, worth for what I'm spending it on. I hope that makes sense. So if you make $10 an hour, which hopefully nobody makes $10 an hour at this point, some people do, and you want to buy something that's $100 or $80, you've got to work a whole day and then some to buy that thing. And if you were going to get paid in that item, would you then buy it? Number 3 is to think about your pets before you take on pets. Pets are very expensive, believe me. I have 3 dogs, 2 are sitting right beside me, and did I say three? 3 dogs, 2 cats, 4 donkeys, and 4 horses. And it is a zoo around here, literally. I've got one that's 110 pounds right underneath me here. And she is very, very scared of the lawnmower. This her is. That's Miss Pearl. And so just vet bills alone, she has a Great Pyrenees, and she has these special kind of dew claws. And I'm sorry for the lawnmower in the back. And they have to be trimmed, and I can't take her to the vet, so I have to have a groomer come to my house and trim her claws. And also I have this little rat terrier back here, and he's really hard. He's got wiry hair, and so that costs about $100 every 3 months. Every time we leave town, we have to have pet sitters. That costs a pretty penny every day. There's vet bills, there's shots. The horses have to have 2 bales of hay every day when the grass isn't growing. So you've got to consider the cost of the pets, but also your energy and your time. And if it's worth it to you, great. But I'm 50 years old, and I've asked my husband, close your ears, Pearl, as these babies go over the Rainbow Bridge, that we consider maybe not replacing them with more pets, because I'm going to replace them. Can't replace a beauty like this. But not having more during the years we're going to be traveling, because it is a lot of work. The next one is to travel hack, or to find ways to travel cheaply. Go stay with friends or family. Go camping if you have the supplies and you don't have to spend a ton of money. Pack your food from home. Don't go buy bottled water. Fill up old glass jars of water. This saves us so much money. My husband used to spend like $400 to go camping, and I was like, wait, we've got stuff here. Let me just make all your food with what we've got and pack you up some bottled water and go. You've got everything you need. And the last time he went, he didn't spend $10. I think he had to go buy a spatula at the Dollar General because he forgot it. So that's one way. I travel hack. I don't recommend this unless you're out of debt. I have a video on it somewhere in there. I would love to link it, but I'm just not that techie, y'all. Nor do I have, I'm just not very, this is as good as I get on YouTube. But travel hacking. I open a credit card that has a 500 point bonus, which is worth about $500 to $800. And I put all my bills, all my groceries, everything on it. I don't spend extra. Usually we'll have like a $3,000 to $5,000 that you have to put on it in 3 to 4 months. And if you pay everything on it, it's not that hard, or pay something like your car insurance, and that will give you a whole bunch of travel points. There is a course on Choose FI. I do not recommend doing this again unless you're debt free, you're very good with your money, you have control of your money, you pay your bills every month in full. But I have racked up a lot of travel. I've got airline tickets, I've got hotel points and everything. And so we can travel for very, very cheaply like that. It is a bit of a pain in the butt. But travel cheaply. There are so many ways to do it. The next one is cleaning your house. So for years, I cleaned houses up until I was about 31, and I did it on the side with kids because it was the perfect kind of gig with kids. I could go clean a house, or where we live, there's a lot of vacation homes, and I could make more money doing that than just about anything else. I was in college till I was 30, and I have found that soap and water cleans just about. Dawn or dish soap and water will clean just about everything. Vinegar, baking soda. I have a few supplies, like I really like Mrs. Meyer's when I want the kitchen to smell good. But for the most part, I just use a rag and soap and water. You don't have to polish your wood every week or anything like that. But you don't need a lot of cleaning supplies. There's all kinds of homemade cleaners that work really, really well. They're better for you. They're better for the environment. And it's super cheap. And I would love to say I'm counting these, but I have lost count. The next one is I love this rule. The percentages can change, but I want to go back and touch savings. Spend 75% of your check on living, 10% on investments, and 50% on savings. You can flip-flop that. It can change. My husband and I have a 50% savings rate, but we did not before. We take and live off about half of our income. We couldn't always do that. When we first got together, we were BROKE, exclamation point, broke. And it's taken us a long time to get to the point where we have had money. But it's been all of these things I've been sharing with you. We had a couple of side businesses. I'm a yoga therapist. I owned a yoga school that I closed in 2019, and I teach classes and I teach at a medical facility. So it was up until just a few years ago, that was my bread and butter. I've also written I've written a couple of books. I've contributed to some books. I don't make a lot of money on that. It's a $500 a year, but it's still something. I have some courses through yoga therapy. I make a little bit here and there. We have an Airbnb that we're renting out to a family member right now. So get to the point where we just got to the point where we don't need my income to live. So my income goes to a small portion to pay for things I want to do, or my clothes, or whatever, my car, my retirement, and savings. And so I'm just really saving all of that. We basically live on my husband's paycheck from our roofing company, which we grew from a side hustle to a pretty large business that makes a very good income. We both kept our day jobs. So my husband and I work 20 hours a week as a medical yoga therapist. My husband has a job that has some flexibility in it, and we also own a roofing company. But a lot of times in the summer, we work until nighttime, until dark. He's out there mowing the yard right now. It's about 8 o'clock at night as I film this. So we're both just really used to working hard and divvying up the responsibilities, and that really helps. And as one of the best things I ever heard was to get to where you are comfortable middle class and get off the hedonic treadmill. The hedonic treadmill is basically just always going up and up and up. So when you get to that point where you're comfortable with your car, and when you get to that point where you have a comfortable home, you live in a comfortable neighborhood, you have what you need, and like, I can live on, say, $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, and pay everything and have a little bit of money to travel, and I can save the rest. Now, I know for some people they are living on much less, but you can still find ways to cut back and save. I've given lots of ideas. There's another girl that I love called Frugal Over 50. You don't have to be over 50. Her name is Amy. She's great. She has a lot of tips as well. Flourishing Miranda does a lot on saving money, and she's really good. There's just so many good people out there on how to save money, how to do all of these things. I am by no means the expert, but I just feel like if we can live on half our income and save the rest. We got a late start. We both started over with being divorced parents, taking care of teenagers by ourselves. We were both the primary guardians of our children, and so it was tough, and it was hard financially. I had 4, he had 1 at home, and it was really, really expensive. And so it took us, my husband is 63 and I'm 50. It took us until just a few, maybe 4 years ago to really start to see the big benefits of all the hard work we put into saving and living frugally. And because we had to start over. So I hope these have been helpful. Thank you for being here. I hope these tips have helped you. And who knows what I'll be doing next. I have no idea, but I am on my way tomorrow for a girls trip. So take care and have fun and enjoy yourselves this week or weekend or whenever you're watching this. Have a beautiful day. Make the most of it. Stop and smell the roses. Watch the sunset. Watch the sunrise. Look at the beauty in the sky at night. But make the most of your life. That's probably the best frugal tip I can give. Bye-bye.